is Jesus is the God of the mind, and he's the God of madness, and the God of somber madness who drives people mad. Now, what we're talking about here, in this particular new paradigm, what we're dealing with here, is a state of madness. Now, what is madness? Anything that goes against the order of everyday physical reality in this society is considered madness. And we need to get the mind to that aspect of madness, a controllable madness. I'll explain what that is. To get these certain electric powers to work inside of us. This particular controllable madness. So what do we mean by that? We're talking about a state of thinking so opposite to logic, rationale, that it appears to be madness, but that is the divinity. That is what spirit is. That's why the white boy, when he deals with logic and rationale, he said there is no such thing as spirit. Why is it when he becomes more of his physical, logical, rational, left-brain being, there is no room for spirit? But yet that don't stop his ass from going mad. What we're saying is this state of madness is a state that is totally opposite from the ordinary, that you would call this shit madness. But we're not talking about some crazy person walking around here. We're just saying, even when you talk about the basic concepts of any original thought, to some people was seen as a form of madness. A light bulb, prior to somebody inventing it, which was a black man, would have been a form of madness. A TV, a telephone, would have been a form of madness, absolute madness, prior to the state of it becoming a reality. You see what I'm saying? So the whole concept of everybody in Western civilization fitting a fucking pattern, a normality, as a fashion, not to stand out, is a form of degeneration and a form of being stagnant. And shunning those particular people who have sexual appetites, who have drunkenness, in all forms of voluptuous ways and all follies, is in fact a form of keeping shit dormant. And this is what the church is involved with, as well as all forms of society at this particular time. You see what I'm saying? So now what we're doing is we're freeing shit up. We're saying that freedom is to go with whatever thought strikes you. No matter how ridiculous the lazy action tell you shit is. Because we're talking about something that's so innate and primal in us. And basically that's what the Christ is. When you want to say the Christ, listen, the Christ is this supernatural being that is extraordinary. He's not like no other person on the earth. Well, what would that be? That would be a fucking madman. Even if you deal even with the concept of Christ, just in the concept of basically the New Testament, and if you want to historicalize it for the sake of argument right now, he was considered a madman to certain opposing forces, right? So if you take the Christ principle be something that's so out of the ordinary that when you look, it becomes a form of the divine. Like pain and suffering. Now let's look at this thing, because everybody, we are in a constant pursuit of trying to put some type of anesthesia and numbness on pain. Now let's look at the science on this thing. We know that there's a thin line between eroticism and pain. And there's a point where pain crosses into a comfort. We're probing into the deepest recesses of the mind. If this is an illusion and a shutdown particular part, and we will read the actual part here. I want to show you this part. I want to read this particular part to you. This is also in this book, Dionysus, by Walter F. Otto. A lot of good stuff up in this book if you get your hands on it. It's still in print. Walter F. Otto. Because this Dionysus is the Typhonian form of the Osirian drama. So what it is Osiris is a later day representation of something that's most primal in primordial Africa. And we don't get a lot on the Osirian drama, the same basic story of him, being cut up into 14 pieces, but you don't get a lot. We find the Dionysus cult in Greece because we're talking about something that migrated out of Africa by the Tyrrhenians, the Troy, and later on the newfound Greeks, which was a black culture at first. And this is a foreign alien worship of a wild god, which in fact is what the Christ is. That's what makes this shit so important. The god of madness. Now, pain is another dimension. If this is an illusionary dimension and something that doesn't exist, then something alien to it outside of this matrix would be painful. It would be painful. And we would need an anesthesia to that alien thing just to cope. You get it? That means it is in the painful aspect of our lives. And most of the pain these days is not necessarily pain, it's the getting out of the comfort zone. Motherfucker talking about taking your goddamn whatever your physical heaven away from you. Just the mere thought of not living comfortable is utter pain. But remember, only till you lose it all that you free. It shows you that in the movie Fight Club. He said only when you lose it all, that's when you free. You gotta hit rock bottom. And if anybody has ever had the pleasure of hitting rock bottom in their life, life is pretty much easy after that shit. You free. That's why I stick close to the damn shadow realm in the graveyard. In the land of misery and them side of the tracks. You see what I'm saying? So I ain't never too far from that realm. So when the damn reality sets in, which is pain and suffering, and that anesthesia wears off every now and then, I don't lose my mind. It's just another day in paradise to me. Because I ain't moved too far away from the goddamn tracks of pain and suffering. You see what I'm saying? Of pain and suffering. You get the concept here? Suffering is in actuality some dimension away from the everyday reality of illusion. That's the whole thing. When a person comes from heaven to get you to come from heaven, go to hell to get you from hell, you go kicking and screaming. You'd rather cut off your arm of game. You would rather leave the arm on with arm on give you a fake form of suffering. Here's some people that have no intentions on really going through some pain and suffering, other than them 6 years they made up. But yet, they live in large all over the planet. They are the money changers. And I'll be funny with this thing. But they want to give the image and coin the phrase on pain and suffering just to camouflage themselves and camouflage the true fact of the original people that the scriptures are talking about of the damn pain and suffering, which is us. Here's the people understand the value of the pain and suffering as the true essence of this new reality that they would rather fake it from. They ain't gonna suffer now. But yeah, they're gonna play it to the damn hill. And they are the doggone